What if you were to listen to an internationally acclaimed, multi-award-winning illusionist, and he had something far more to say than, "Watch this trick"? Rick Thomas is that performer, ready to go far beyond his magic and far beyond your imagination as he shares secrets regarding our dreams. Dreams that can become reality. The future belongs to those who believe in the strength of their dreams. Dreams pass into the reality of action. From the action stems the dream again. And this interdependence produces the highest form of living. Join Rick and his co-host, award-winning broadcaster Tammy Trujillo, for Nothing Happens Until You Dream. Indulge your mind and take a journey never to be forgotten. A journey connecting all of our dreams as we chase them together.
Rick, you're a magician, as everybody knows, and I guess you and I both pulled a little disappearing act over the last couple of weeks, right?
Slightly. I think things crumbled in some way or form, and we both decided to just walk away.
It was an unintentional disappearance.
Yes.
The technology, monsters got us on our last episode, and it just, it kind of crashed, and you were already off and running, and so we just decided, you know what? Holiday is a holiday, and we will rejoin in 2023. And so here we are. But you've been all over the place, right?
I have. I decided after our holiday show concluded that I grab the family, get on the road, and just vanish. And we did. And everybody keeps asking me, what did you do? Where did you go? It does not matter. All I know is I'm back, and I'm thrilled that I had my family with me, and we had a great holiday. And yeah, I guess I should share more on TikTok or something. I don't know.
No.
But either way, people want to know constantly what's up. I have people constantly texting me and telling me, what's going on? What are you doing? Where are you going? So I guess that's nice to know that I'm loved and appreciated. But sometimes we need to just kind of disappear.
Absolutely. See, everybody knows when I disappear, they know where I'm at because they turn on the radio. So, yes, I think I have amassed my record.
What kind of record?
18 days straight on the air without a break. Ta-da. To coin your phrase.
Yes, ta-da.
It was pretty intense, but it was one of those things where a lot of people wanted the holidays off to do what you did, go hang out with their families. And because Randy and I are just family, I acquiesced and said, okay, anybody who wants a shift off, I'm game, because they had something more important to do. And I could just do one-on-one very simply right here at the house. So
that's great.
That is what we did.
I just, mostly during the holidays, I have shows that are constant. Just like you, as an entertainer, we are basically required to perform during the holiday season because the rest of the world wants to be entertained, and we are that escape. And for that reason, I very rarely have a holiday to myself. Our holidays are usually sometime in January.
Yeah, right. Right, when everything dies down.
Yeah, and everything. So this time around, it was pleasing. People will ask over and over, how was your holiday? And I can say that Christmas and New Year's, for the first time in many years, was grand.
That's wonderful.
I thank the world for letting me go, and I'm just thrilled to actually be back. I feel great. And Tammy, I know you've been very busy and all over the country as well, driving and taking care of those precious animals of yours as well. And
we finally got, and everybody remember we talked about that I was going to make a drive up to Vegas and pick up a Bengal kitty who needed rescue. Well, we finally got that done just a couple of days ago. And, as luck has it, it was right in the middle of that one of the many massive storm systems that has come through the West. So a turnaround trip to Las Vegas by myself in a huge, massive storm to pick up a gorgeous, wonderful kitty cat. So that kind of capped it for me, Rick. It's been interesting, to say the least.
Well, glad you're home and safe.
Yeah. Now, I want everybody to get a quick look at your 2023 because you're starting off crazy as usual. So can you kind of give us a rundown? Because you're not in Branson right now performing. You're going to be back. But in the meantime, where are you headed?
I'm headed out to Nevada. I'll be performing at Harrah's in Laughlin the first 2 weeks of February. Actually, I think it's like the 9th through the 19th. And then I'll be at the South Point Casino and Resort in Las Vegas the third week of February, and then the last week of February going into March, towards March 5th. That's the 27th of February through March 5th. I'll be actually returning to my home of California and performing at the Magic Castle in Hollywood.
That is an exciting lineup. It really is. It really is.
Well, the Magic Castle was my stomping ground. It's where I started. I was a member when I was 21 years old. And since then, of course, I moved on to traveling the world and Vegas and now Branson, of course, and many, many places across the world. And going back to the Magic Castle for me, who knows? This may be the last time I actually present or perform at the castle. I know it is. In fact, for those that don't know, it's grueling. We have 3 shows usually a night. They're just one right after another. It is a small room, but elegant. And again, my show doesn't fit. It doesn't fit anymore.
No, not at all.
And so I'm coming in and doing an extremely modified version of the show. And it's exciting for me just to be back there and once again be part of the castle. It is important. It is the cornerstone of my life, where it all began, and it's a good thing to come back to. And like I said, it may be the last go around for the castle. So if anybody out there in California hears my voice and wants to get over to the castle, that'd be the time to do it. Who knows when.
It's an incredible place if you haven't been there. It's really amazing. You do have to be specially invited to get in. But
I'll invite you.
Thank you. I definitely want to see you there. And we're going to come out to South Point.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because I haven't got to see you on the big stage in an awfully long time. So we're going to come out to South Point and disappear ourselves for just a couple of 3 days there or so. So it's going to be fun. It's a nice kickoff to the year. Pretty exciting. And once you get through all of that, you land back in Branson in March?
We reopen the show, I believe, March 11th. And again, we are driving the show back from California to Branson. So that's on the 5th. So we leave on the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. It's about 3 days journey with the trucks. And then we get back to Branson a day before the show opens. I will give you a little bit of a secret. The month of January, we're actually setting up the show, prepping the show, and preparing it in Branson. So everything that needs to be there and ready for the show will all already be in order. So when I come in a day before our show in Branson, though you may think that's an absolute miracle,
yes.
We prepared.
Wow. That is really going to be something. And a brand new theater.
Yes, we'll be at the Mickey Gilley Grand Shanghai Theater. It's a stunning theater. There's 1,000 seats in that theater.
Wow.
Beautiful LED wall. Mansion of Dreams will continue to play in all of its glory in that room. It is a beautiful place to perform. I am thrilled. The people I'm working with there are just amazing. I'm going to give a shout out to a lovely lady. Appreciate her. Her name is Cindy Thomas. No relation to me, but definitely a great friend and an amazing director of entertainment there at the theater. And we're thrilled to be back with Cindy.
So 2023 kicking off A-OK so far.
A-OK.
I love it. I love it. One question I have had from people who know that you're going to be traveling here, are the dogs coming?
No.
Okay.
They could travel, but I haven't. I can tell you this. I've traveled with the animals previously, and I had a beautiful trailer for the tigers. I could have traveled across country with those tigers, but when those tigers were given to the Keepers of the Wild, I actually donated my trailer to Keepers of the Wild as well.
Oh, wow.
So it was one of those things where I had to not only let go of the tigers, but everything that had to do with them. And I haven't created a new trailer to properly travel with the animals across the country, and I will never put them through anything other than Class A travel.
Oh, right.
And I just want to make sure that everybody knows if I am traveling with the animals, they're traveling in luxury, and I wouldn't do it any other way. So at that moment, that being the case, they're going to stay home, and we will travel. Now, I'll have my birds with me.
Okay.
They're easier to travel with. We can keep them with us in one of our cars as we drive, and they'll be in the production. So we're kind of excited that the birds are coming along.
And you hate them anyway, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you put them through the travel because you hate them. So we know that. goodness. Oh, well, it's great to be back with you. I've missed you over the holidays, so I'm glad we are back in podcasting here. We are to chapter 19, and it's perfect. It's Traveling the World with Tigers, and just a little tease here. Chapter 20, that's the one. That's the Tiger Whisker chapter, so that's coming up here in just a week. But Traveling the World with Tigers, like you said, you had that amazing trailer. When I was driving the 15 leaving Vegas, I thought of that trailer.
Did you?
I did. I'm driving down and it's really busy traffic. And it would have been, oddly enough, it was about the same time you would have been traveling the 15 going to the show. And it just, I don't know, it just, all the synergy came together. It clicked in my head. I thought, wow, this is a lot of traffic driving that enormous trailer that you did.
It was fully air conditioned.
Mm-hmm.
Every Tiger had its own section in the trailer. And I always thought it was fun. It was such a beautiful trailer. I always wanted people around me to know that they actually were just driving next to tigers, but nobody knew.
Right.
I mean, they thought it was just an elegant horse trailer. But for the most part, it was always fun to know I was traveling with tigers and nobody knew.
Right.
It was, my little secret.
Stealthy tigers going down the 15.
Yeah. On the highway.
Wow. But traveling with animals, I don't care, even if you take like your cat on vacation, you really have to think about it. You really have to think a lot about how the animals perceive the travel and what works for them and what doesn't work for them. And, you know, because they don't quite get it. I mean, your tigers were excellent travelers because they did it every day. But animals, you know, that don't travel all the time.
You know what? This is quite an interesting subject about the animals and they don't know. I am 5 minutes away from the theater now here in Branson. And when I put them in our truck and we move them across town to the theater for the show, it's 5 minutes. And anything longer than 5 minutes, you know, let's say they're driving for 30 minutes or 45 minutes. I can see it in their face. I'll get them out of the truck and go like, what was that all about?
Where are we? What are you doing to me?
What are you doing to me? And I think even with the tigers, when I was traveling back and forth with the tigers from my home to the theater and back to my home again, it was no longer than 30 minutes of drive time. And when you place these tigers in travel containers to go across the world, you're talking 24 hours.
Yeah.
You're talking an extensive period of time that those animals are enclosed and you got to move them across the world. So that is one of the reasons why when I got back from Korea that I actually literally just took the tigers and put them in the reserve. I was never going to put them through anything like that again. It wasn't getting to Korea. Korea had a beautiful habitat waiting there for me. It was the travels. Now, as far as cost, I will tell you that they do take great care. They're usually on a cargo plane. There is a complete section set aside just for the animals. They are cared for extremely well, but the amount of extra costs it takes to move the animals, it's just not right for me, and it wasn't right for the animals. I mean, when you move across the world as a human being, you may think, well, it's about $1,000.
Right.
Try $5,000, try $10,000 to move these animals across the world.
Wow.
It's a different story. And then, of course, like you say, when they get out of their travel container and you put them in the habitat, those tigers are looking at you guy like, what was that all about?
Oh,
because
yeah.
it was just too much. And they don't know. So when they go in the cage, they don't know what to expect next. And I think that that's the point of my conversation. Then when you attempt to try to put them back into any containment, they don't want to go.
Right.
The last thing they want to do is because they think that once they're placed in there, it's going to be another horrific bit of travel that they don't want to be part of. So right here and now, my travels with the dogs, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. It's awesome. Anything more than that, I get the look.
Yeah.
Dad, what are you thinking?
I'm not doing that again.
I'm not doing that again.
You traveled with how many tigers?
I traveled with 4 tigers.
4 tigers. Okay. And they're in a cargo plane. You guys are on a separate plane?
Well, I actually traveled with the cargo planes.
Oh, okay.
Every time the animals flew, I flew with them.
Got it.
And it was really awesome because in cargo planes, you've got the pilot, the co-pilot, and that's it.
Oh.
There's a couple extra seats behind them in a cargo plane for people who need to travel with the plane. And I'm placed there. So I'm there actually with the tigers.
That helped.
All by myself in this plane traveling across the world while everybody else is in a commercial flight getting over to the other side of the world. But I always travel with the animals. I'm there with them. If there's any concern, I can be right there. In fact, oftentimes throughout the flight, I can easily get out of my seat, walk over to the animals and talk to them on the flight itself. So that's pretty amazing. You need to realize that they're not blocked away from me. I can't it's not like I can't reach them, or if there's an issue or problem, we can't take care of it. We can. So that was the way I traveled with the animals.
Well, that helps because, they were your babies, and they loved you. And that would certainly help them a lot to say, okay, this is weird. We don't know where we're going. We don't know how long we're going to be stuck here, but there's Rick. So, okay, that would help. But even just, traveling, with your cat or dog across the country on a plane with them under the seat in the carrier is tricky. So I can understand why that would be really difficult. Traveling the world with tigers.
It's really become easier for people to travel with their pets.
Oh, yeah.
It's just amazing to watch people walk through the airports with their animals. That 10 years ago didn't happen.
Oh, exactly.
Absolutely, honestly, things have changed. So that's positive. Now, with the moving of the tigers, however, I needed what was called a CITES permit. That's CITES, CITES permit. Okay. And it was like a visa for the tigers. And that was the responsibility I had to the United States government. See, the government wants to make sure that these animals are not traveling for entertainment purposes alone, that the animals were actually traveling for educational purposes.
Okay.
And I had to create programs and pamphlets and an actual program that I presented along with the presentation of the tigers about the plight of the tigers, the challenges we face with them being endangered. And I had to have that translated to many different languages. You send that into the government. They take a look at it. They make sure you know what you're talking about. It's a huge program. And the reason why is because I was going to a part of the world where the people in that area of the world believe that there are health benefits to the different parts of a tiger. They crush their bones and it becomes medicinal. These tigers are sold across the world in the black market for hundreds of thousands of dollars because they believe that they are something to do with their health and it's traditional medicine. And so I brought the tigers across to present and, of course, show them how gorgeous they are, but at the same time, tell these people, look, you may think this does this, and this for you, but it really does not. That is a traditional medicine. There are things out there that can truly help you stop killing the tigers.
Well, this stuff dates back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And, I don't want to knock anybody, but I'm going to say it, these crazy, insane ideas that parts of an animal will improve your health or your virility or whatever. What was that figure you said a while back for a deceased tiger?
About $100,000.
Parting this animal out like a old car.
Yes.
Boy, and a live tiger is worth how much?
Not near as much.
Yeah.
I mean, we say that they're worth about $100,000 a piece dead. I don't know how you could say what they are live because by the time they get there, they're not. And so, because you're not allowed to buy and sell exotic endangered species. Okay. There's a black market. There are ways that we assist and help. Like, for example, when I receive a tiger on what they call a breeding loan. And that is where someone is offering me the tiger and they give me the tiger to utilize that animal with my particular group of tigers. I, in the process, can give a charitable contribution to take care of all of their animals as well, whether they're feeding the animals, whatever. But there's a fine line between buying and selling these animals and taking care of them in the industry, like the zoos have to. And, our responsibilities are the same as the zoos. We do have a responsibility to feed and take care of them. And the USDA is responsible for watching over that. So we need to make sure that they're taken care of. And it costs a lot of money to do so. And in the process, for that reason, just like the zoos, when I present my tigers and people come see the tigers, they assist by purchasing tickets to the production to take care of the animals as well.
What kind of reception did you get when you were in Korea, in the Asian countries, where they do believe these old health myths about certain types of animals, including tigers, when you're saying, hey, you don't have to crush bones for virility or whatever?
I would say that that's a hard question to answer. I don't know the language enough or don't know their true feelings, but I do know that the shows were packed.
Okay.
People loved to see the animals. It wasn't that they didn't. It wasn't that they didn't appreciate seeing them presented. They just think that there are different uses for that animal beyond just its beauty. But it didn't stop them from coming out and supporting my presentation. It's thrilling to see the amount of people that just came out in droves.
Well, you kind of hope maybe when they see how beautiful these animals are alive, and how wonderful they are, that maybe they would think, maybe I should investigate some other kind of concept here and let these guys have their lives, because they are one of the most beautiful animals on earth.
In fact, talking about that, I don't know if you have the book open or not.
I do.
But this particular chapter is probably one of my personal favorite photos. And that is the photo of Samson passing the mantle to chaos.
I'm looking at it.
This is my backyard. So my backyard had a pool, and around the pool, of course, had all this rock formation. And Samson is literally sitting on top of the rock. He's in an age where he's about to retire from the show. Chaos is running around, bouncing all over the place, around the pool, in the pool, you can name it. And it's really difficult because tigers are even aggressive to each other. And you've got an older, a male tiger and a little baby cub tiger. And he came up to Samson and literally stepped up on the rock, and they touched noses. And at that moment, I literally said, wow, that is one tiger passing the mantle to another.
Yeah.
I captured it in a picture. I don't know how I did it at that very moment.
I don't either.
It is a stunning picture. And it is literally everything to me about the relationship I had with these animals and they had with each other. And it's in that photo alone. So if you don't have that picture, you're to go online. In fact, we have the link to the book itself on our podcast. Go there and grab the book and actually get a digital copy of this. The pictures are, in my own opinion, beautiful.
Oh, the pictures in this book. You had more pictures than you had book. So you have a ton of pictures stashed at the back,
I know.
which is amazing. Yeah, in the show notes is a special link to go purchase a digital copy of the book. And then, as you listen to the podcast, you just really have to have the book with you, because all of the things that Rick talks about, these beautiful cats, you'll see them. And once you've seen them, then when you listen to the podcast, you can really imagine. You get terrific mental images when Rick talks about these animals. This is one of those pictures, Rick, that I'm going to say you actually need to have made in person. I can hold it in my hand and stick it on my wall.
Yeah, it needs to be framed.
It does.
I know.
It looks so incredible. I know people are going to look and go, he made that on Photoshop because he's really good at this stuff.
And the mountains in the background of right there in Vegas.
Perfect.
So you got the Vegas background.
Yeah.
And then the rocks where the tigers are. Literally, the pool is down right in front of where those two tigers are sitting and standing. It was just so cool to see Chaos go up and give Samson a little bit of a peck on the nose.
Well, I can attest. I was at the house. I saw the pool. I saw the whole thing. I saw it with my very own two eyes. So I can attest that it's all real. It was amazing. I really could have just sat out there for probably, a couple of months and watched the activity and just the beauty of that part of Las Vegas. That was up in North Las Vegas. And it's just gorgeous up there. It really, really is. You've got to start selling art from the book because everybody wants these pictures.
I did. I actually, at one point online, had art from the book that could be purchased. In fact, I probably should start it again.
Oh, yes.
And they were photos that I've got all over my home that I know people would just eat up. They're beautiful photos. So good idea there.
Yes, I totally agree. And I think other people would too. And that is going to be my first picture. I was talking to somebody the other day on one of my shows from the Santa Ana Zoo. There is a zoo in Santa Ana, California, folks, in case you didn't know. And they don't have big animals, but she's a big tiger fan, very big tiger fan, and has seen your show and your tigers and really loves them. And we were talking about the plight of tigers. And she was bringing up the point, people always saying, tigers, you got to get them back in the wild, quit hanging on to them. But hanging on to them is really the only way that we're going to keep tigers at this point in time.
At the moment, yes. Our problem is stopping people from killing them in the wild. Until you can do that, they're wiping them out. It's almost like two worlds colliding. It's like stocking a lake with fish. Oh. I love to see people fish. I like to see them go out in the ocean and find fish. But when people stock a lake that doesn't have fish, to me, that's kind of bizarre. Here you are stocking a lake, throwing fish into it so people can fish them back out.
And then kill them and eat them.
Right. But that's the same thing with the tigers is you're basically stocking the industry.
The poacher world.
Sticking to, the poacher world. Yeah. So the best thing that you can do, and we're talking about a solution, how can you be part of it? You can't go over there and stop people from shooting them.
No.
One is just to have an understanding, to understand that they are endangered, to have an understanding that there is a challenge that we're facing, and to not be part of it. And just you, along with the other millions of people that need to do so, will slowly and surely, sadly, maybe take too long to get people's act together and stop killing these animals. One is they have them in reserves. We have people out there with protective guns and jeeps and everything they can do to chase people away. They're doing what they can to save the tigers. But we need to save them. They're part of our system. I think they're still one of the most beautiful animals on the face of the earth, and you just need to simply be involved. One is to go to the World Wildlife Foundation, that worldwildlife.org, worldwildlife.org. Nice place to start. They're just one of the many ways that people have invested their time and effort in letting you know what's going on with the animal kingdom. And if you have any interest in and love for animals, part of it should be conservation.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing people have asked me about, now, your cats that you had when you came back from Korea, they went to Keepers of the Wild, which is an amazing place.
Yep.
And you can actually go there and tour. I highly recommend it. And I want to talk about this because this was so interesting in the book. Your tigers that passed, you have them.
I have them in urns in my home. And they're big urns. Tigers are big. They're anywhere from 400 to 500 pounds, 4 times the size of a human. And yes, people do cremate, and they have their remains with them and or in a place of remembrance. And my tigers are literally in my home. They're stunning. They're beautiful. I'm proud of them. Each urn, of course, has the name of each of the tigers on those urns. And it's just nice to have them in my hands and know what they were in my life and what we did for each other. And tigers live in captivity anywhere from 15 to 20 years. In the wild, maybe up to 10 years, 8 to 10 years. And that's basically because they're in the wild. If they get hurt and the challenges they face of being out there, lifespan is just not as long. They don't have somebody to take care of them. They get hurt, they're in trouble, they're gone. So in captivity, we can kind of take care of them better. People will say, well, captivity still is not as good as the wild. We can agree to understand and agree upon that, but we're still doing the best we can and putting them in situations where at least we're trying to protect the breed. And in my case, once they have passed on, I respect them by holding on to those ashes as well.
Well, I wanted to bring that up, Rick, because a lot of people think that entertainers, particularly magicians who have large animals in their shows, or any kind of animals for that matter, they're just doing it because it draws people to the show. But I wanted to bring that up because to me, that says, you know what? You loved those tigers. They were more than just a prop, a breathing prop in the show. They were special beings to you that, like most of us, when we lose a family member, we have a memorial of some kind, you know, whether it's a cremation and an urn or it's a grave with a headstone. You kept your tigers because you loved them. I really wanted to bring that up so that relationship was understood because it was special.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And again, that's a very special part of my home. People ask me now, would you put the tigers back in your show? And I can tell you now, there may be people out there cheering when I say that. My answer back to them would be no. I don't plan on it, nor would I put my tigers back in the show. There was a time of my life where it fit. There was a time in my life where it made sense. And each of us in our lives have different segments of our life where we live a certain way. We have an understanding about how our life is and what we want from that life. And we're human and we do everything we can, which is best for us and be part of the world. And at that time in my life, it was okay having the tigers in my production. Now I look back and those were 20 years of my life. Would I trade it? No. Was it an awesome part of my life? Absolutely. Would I do it again? No way. Maybe it's just because of my age. Oftentimes you'll ask somebody in their 20s, they can't even comprehend that they're going to die.
No.
If that, I don't want to make this morbid, but it is so true. There's a time in your life where you're invincible. There's a time in your life where you see aged people, you see people who are elderly, and you go, well, they are them, but that is not me. It's true, but you're going to be there soon as well. There's a time in your life where it's not thought about, and that's how you live your life.
Right.
So with the tigers, I didn't see my life as endangered or a dangerous scenario. I knew that it was dangerous, but I took on those challenges because I thought I could handle it.
And you did.
But as you age and you look back on time, you probably don't want to jump out of too many more airplanes and parachute to the ground because you're counting your wonderful last years. I'm not making this morbid on my side as well.
No,
I look forward to a long life. But at the same time, like I said, there are different chapters. And it was a perfect time for me. And now it's a perfect time to still focus on my production. My Mansion of Dreams is thrilling to me. I am so happy to be presenting this to the world and that I am able to still be a part of the entertainment industry. I cannot thank everyone enough for supporting me and being enthusiastic about my show.
Well, I remember Mansion of Dreams on an iPad way back when, and you showed it to me. It was just a dream, no pun intended. It was just a dream that you had of putting this incredible show together. And you still had many more years left with the Tigers, you performing with your Tigers before that became a reality. So it wasn't a knee-jerk thing. I'm going to get rid of my Tigers and make a whole new show. You had a progression. And we all do. I mean, my goodness, I was a college cheerleader. Could I go back and do all of those things physically? No, unfortunately. Would I want to? No, because that doesn't compel me. That doesn't excite me anymore. It was a chapter, and it was wonderful. Long Beach City College, go Vikes, go, right?
Go Vikes, go.
I wouldn't trade it for anything. But it was a chapter, and we all change, and anybody who goes back through their lives, they can see those chapters. They're very well defined in many cases. So, you know, it's totally understandable. Yours just happened to have a whole bunch of great, big, beautiful tigers in the middle of it. Lucky you. My goodness.
I am one of the privileged few, and I've said it over and over again. Those that have had the opportunity to be a part of these animals' lives, I embrace it. I'm thrilled for it and grateful that it has been part of my life. For the rest of the world that doesn't have a chance to actually be close up and personal with these animals, I don't think it matters. I think that just knowing that they're an incredible species, that they need to be saved, that you need to be part of the process of protecting these animals. It needs all of us, not just a few of us. My mind has turned to protection and protecting the animals, which is positive for me. And I can just tell you, I mean, at one point, there were 7 original species of tigers. 4 have now become extinct. And in the year 1900, there were about 120,000 tigers in the wild. Today, there's about 3,500 tigers in the wild. And for this reason, we need to do something. And one is to just be aware, be on the positive side of protecting the animals. If you hear of somebody who is on the side that utilizes them in other ways or forms and or doesn't quite understand why they need to be protected, it's your job to try to help them understand.
And, you know, there are a lot of videos up on YouTube of you with tigers, parts of the show. So if you haven't seen Rick, if you didn't get to see Rick in Las Vegas or the other places he performed with his beautiful tigers, you still can. It's still there.
And they weren't put up by me. They should. I should actually take all of my footage and put it up proper on the internet. But everything that's thrown up there is somebody else who's found it and just stuck it up on the internet. Maybe because they want their numbers. Whatever it may be, I'm thrilled that my material is up there and people found it of interest to be placed on the web. But for the most part, it didn't come from me.
Right. Yeah, some people just do it for numbers. And some people do it because they say, you know, this is so cool, I want to share it. They're pretty good. They're actually pretty good videos. I've watched quite a few. So now we've given you 2 new jobs here in 2023. Get the pictures from the book made so they can be put up on the wall and put up content from the Vegas show so everybody can see you with the tigers. We're just making you really busy.
I know. My social media this year is going to explode. So I will do my very best and get out there and be seen.
Sounds like a New Year's resolution was made.
Yeah, but they're never kept.
I know. Well, we're going to try.
This time around, I've got to. I have to.
Yes. You know what? I don't make them. I make vows. And one of my vows is to first fix up and then keep up with my social media because it's a mess. So it's a lot of work. It's, you know, one of those things, but we're going to definitely do it. Something else I know that you're going to be super busy with because this is your other thing, your financial other thing, and that is precious metals, gold and silver. I got to ask, did you get some for Christmas? Did you get any?
Yes, I did.
Oh, how did I guess?
In fact, I can tell you right now, today, as we sit here, I'm waiting for the front doorbell to ring because there's more to be arriving on my doorstep.
Oh, Christmas again.
Yeah, Christmas again. I can tell you now, and I don't think people need me to tell them anymore. I'm going to. You want to know about it, you can go online and to the link that we have on our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I will talk to you about gold and silver. I will reach out to you and give you a phone call personally. But I can tell you now, you know as well as I do, look at the world around you at this very moment.
Yikes. Yeah.
Look at the challenges we are facing financially. We have a fiat currency. Once again, a fiat currency is literally a currency that only is the worth of what the government tells you it is. And for the amount of dollars that are being printed, it is worthless. We have a worthless dollar. And there are people and countries and wealthy people out there and banks that are doing one thing, and that is hoarding gold and silver. They know right now that they need to protect what they have, and that is buy gold. Buy gold. The crypto market is being crushed right now. The government seems to be wanting to create a completely new crypto system. These are things that you need to be looking forward to and or worried about. And in the process, for everybody that I've told over and over and over again, buy gold. And if you don't know how to do so, you give me a call and I'll share with you what I've done and how I've done it. Tammy, I know, has listened to me.
Yes.
She has begun the process. And I am thrilled that there's so many hundreds of people across the world who've done the same. And that is just follow my advice. And it's just not my advice. There are professionals out there, and I'm not professional, but they're telling you the same thing. What are you waiting for? Even if it's just one silver coin a month or whatever, you've got to get into precious metals. You've got to get into something of worth. It holds its worth, and if you don't hold it, you don't own it. And this world is falling apart faster than you can imagine, and it is just one way to protect yourself. And I'm going to get off my high horse now. I'm so frustrated with the world around me.
It's a frustrating world, Rick, but before you jump off your soapbox there,
Okay.
I want people to understand that you don't have to be a wealthy person to start doing what Rick is talking about.
Nope.
You can start
None whatsoever.
very, very economically, but like anything, the trick is what? Starting, doing it now, and making it persistent. The people will buy a couple things and then they'll just forget about it. Right.
You have to have a system where methodically you're putting some money into it every month in some way or form. And it doesn't have to be a lot, but it has to be something. And at the end of the year, you'll turn around and look back and go, wow, I can't believe this is what I have. And that's because you didn't falter. You kept pursuing and you just kept doing just a little bit every month. That's the fault of all of us, is we're enthusiastic about something and all of a sudden we just quit.
Right.
And the next thing you know, you've got a collapse of a government and or our money system, and it'd be nice to have something else to fall back on. And it is just another way to diversify your assets and protect what you have.
Well, it doesn't have to be like the exercise bike you got for Christmas that by February you'll be hanging clothes on. Okay. It doesn't have to quite go like that. We have a direct link to a very short form that you can fill out and just say, hey, I want to know more. And Rick will actually himself call you on the phone, the real guy, and talk to you about it. And we have the link in the show notes to the podcast. It'll take you a couple minutes to do it. And then, hey, I mean, how cool. Your phone will ring and it'll say, hey, it's Rick Thomas. And he will tell you. He does know a lot about it. He taught me an awful lot and I'm still learning. So thank you, Rick. I appreciate that.
Bravo.
All right. Well, next week we had a drum roll sound effect. It would go right there. The Tiger Whisker. You're going to tell the story.
I'm going to tell the story that the book is written about and what caused me to write the story. And even to this day, I still, if you ask me again to write another book, I'll tell you no. I don't want to go through it again unless I get a ghostwriter. They're out there. Just so you people know that there's people out there in this world who don't write their own books.
Oh, that's true.
But I wrote my own book, and it was a handful, and it was a labor of love for me, and I did what I could. And is it my whole story? Is it my life? It's some of it. I have been so lucky to have an amazing life, but at least in this case, there are a few very important stories I believe that I'm sharing with you that will change your life, and that is the Tiger Whisker.
And just in case you're wondering about what do we do after that, there's a whole bunch more of the book to go.
It's only halfway through the book.
Yeah. So this is not the end of the podcast. This is just the middle point. And it is the story. And I'm going to warn you, have the Kleenex nearby because you may need them, because it is a story that you will love and you'll be touched by, and I think you will, well, at the next time you go out to dinner with friends, you'll tell them the story. I think you will. It's one of those stories that gets passed around because it's just so amazing. So that is next week. Hope you enjoyed this week, certainly. It was wonderful. It was great to catch up and get back and kick off 2023. But next week, the Tiger Whisker.
You bet.
Thanks for joining us this week on Nothing Happens Until You Dream, starring Rick Thomas and featuring Tammy Trujillo, and is based on Rick Thomas's best-selling book, The Tiger Whisker, available on rickthomas.com. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'd love for you to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. And check us out on Patreon for exclusive members-only content. Stay up to date with Rick and Tammy at nothinghappensUntilYouDream.com. Remember, you must follow your dreams, not only for yourself, but for the rest of our future. We'll see you on the next episode.